What does it mean to be human? What it means to be human personally, to me, is to be a person who is fallen. Someone who, through the universal and passed down trait of sin, has a great capacity for evil and destruction. That's not just a personal expression of my humanity, it's the sin nature shared by all. Humanity is defined by its sin. To be human, personally to me, also means you're also a temple of God and dwelled by the Holy Spirit, with all the faculties necessary to experience this temporary world through the various senses of sight, touch, smell, and the endowed supernatural giftings that are part of the experience, such as healing, prophecy, teaching, etc. To be human also means that there is an intrinsic desire to place meaning upon our lives, to attribute value to the random chaos of the world, as well as the intentional manufactured coincidences that happen within the constructs, cultures, and societies that contribute to giving a person identity and impacts how they self-evaluate and give themselves purpose. To be human means to be created in the image of God with the ability to create, steward, breathe into places of darkness, light, and preserve places of truth, and challenge the dullness of boredom and the system's expectations by being straight up salty. A world that recognizes the tension of sin and humanity's fallen nature with the sanctifying incarnation of God's Spirit dwelling within them will realize that part of being human is managing misery, that the brief human existence in this temporary dwelling will always struggle with the here, not yet promises and ideals of a kingdom that's yet to come. It will witness and preach against personal ideas and definitions of injustice and oppression while never having the full picture of what injustice really is due to the diversions, lies, and constructs humans are stuck in. That's part of being human, is being stuck. The things that we define as unjust now are a moving target. The goalposts are always moving. The things that grab our attention as noteworthy for light bearing may not even exist 150 years from now, based on the mass mind manipulations of those in power. In short, everyone will recognize that everyone else is an a-hole in their own unique way, fallen, selfish, and realize that since the very first death of Abel, mankind has been pitted against each other through religion, worship, money, and systems of subsistence. To be human is to either submit and surrender to the stuckness therein, or to keep going and push against those systems and become outcasts. I'm not going to sugarcoat a dream of a world where power, injustice, racism, and oppression will disappear, or even pretend that those same definitions will mean the same thing 200 years from now. Because a world that truly recognizes that what common humanity is won't gravitate towards the elevation of positive qualities of life or sharing common ground without first realizing that their whole existence is based on the fact that they are sinful. The whole desire to be salt and light is predicated on the universal acknowledgement that everyone is evil and sinful. There's no need for salt and light if there was no such thing as sin and death and darkness. Which is why even when I place hope in things like technological advancements, AI, virtual reality, cybernetics, and other who knows what could happen in the future inventions, it's not going to really bring about full equality or full peace, because those same machines and intelligences we design will be endowed with the same mark of sin that we were born with. So to be human is to be cursed with the fall while simultaneously bearing that fallenness and having the Holy Spirit reside in our hearts. Which is why Methodism holds a particularly interesting take on the idea of human perfection. The hopeful idea that the human heart could someday see its temperances towards love become all-encompassing in their motivations and desires. If you ask me personally what a world that recognizes common humanity would look like, from my own encounters and experiences within my own construct, I would say that humanity would look like chaos. The common humanity that people share is chaos. But in a perfect world where that is recognized, I suppose there would be no such thing as government, no such thing as a public school system, no such thing as a need for family or anything like that. Because in a perfect world where shared humanity is understood, and perhaps through the advancements of technology, people would see into each other. They would be connected to one another. It would go back to a pre-Edenic state where there's no such thing as masks or uniforms or clothing to hide ulterior motives or to disguise true purposes. In this fallen world, in its pursuit of the Edenic dream, there would be nothing to block each other from everyone. Everyone would be fully aware of their failures, their depravities, their terrible motives, their intentions, and it would then inspire the world to become a dog-eat-dog world where everyone, knowing the evil of everyone else, would be striving to be the best that they could to keep the other person down and to make sure that their survival and the survival of those that they deem worthy of survival over others would be prominent. Everything they do would be for their survival and those that they deem worthy of survival. So if you're asking me to use humanity as the talking point and envisioning what it recognizes to be, if you're asking me to recognize what it means to be human and then elevate that as some sort of launching pad to create a dream world of happiness and joy where oppression is removed and justice is elevated, that's just not going to happen for me. Because to look at being human means to look at what makes being a human, and that is sin. Regardless of your stories, regardless of what community you're connected to, whether you're white, whether you're black, wherever you come from, like those constructs, they don't matter. Those very meanings, the very definition of what it means to be part of a particular group 150 years from now will mean something totally different. It just doesn't matter. It goes around and around and around in cycles, repeating itself, with the only certain thing in all those cycles is sin. And the only answer to that sin would be a religion that hopes for the removal of that sin. In my context case, it would be Christianity, the hope and faith that Jesus will at some point bring salvation here to this earth in a tangible way that might disrupt the sinfulness of humanity. That's what I have. That's my second attempt at doing this assignment correctly.